What's going on, guys? Master Shields here, Champions Martial Arts Center. This is Talk Tuesday, episode number 7. On today's show, we're talking about quitting, apps part 2, and why parents fail. We've had a huge response to the show, and we must say, before we even start, thank you for watching. Thank you for donating your time to watch. If you have a child, this is probably one of the most important shows we've done yet. So again, 3 questions that we have, technically 2 questions with one entire category forming the 3rd question. Quitting, apps part 2, and why parents fail. These are 3 super topics that every parent should realize and understand. Question number 1, how do I get my kids to stop quitting every activity? So the big thing about quitting, as people, we are creatures of habits. We're creatures of pattern. So when you start quitting things, it gets easier to quit things, and it just becomes habit. It becomes habitual, and then it becomes natural. So if you personally go back and think, what was the very first thing you quit? And then think, what was the very next thing you quit? And go down that line. It just got easier and easier and easier to quit. The same thing happens to your kids. Think, what was the first thing that they quit? It was probably soccer or swimming lessons or piano lessons, something small. And then it kept gradually getting bigger and easier to quit. They would go from one activity to the next, and they would quit. And now it's just super easy to quit things because it's a habit. It's like biting your fingernails or chewing on a straw or saying something or saying whenever you talk. It's a pattern, it's a habit that we've created. You know, the biggest thing that, as people, we're creatures of habit. So once you form a habit, it's really hard to break it. You know, if we're in a habit of quitting, it becomes super easy to quit as they get older. So think if you have a 7-year-old who's consistently quitting things, now when they're 17, 18, 25, 30, it's going to be so much easier to quit. They'll quit their jobs, they'll quit friendships, they'll quit relationships. That's why we have such a huge quitting rate in everything. There's always a turnover ratio in jobs. There's always breakups happening every single day. It all stems back to quitting as a kid. And so how do you get your kids to stop quitting every single activity? Well, the first thing that you have to do is set boundaries and set goals. If you dive into something with this big, huge, outlandish goal, say, hey, we're going to do soccer for the next 15 years, realistically, you're asking way too much. Think very short term, very small, and set miniature goals, because that way you're able to have small successes rather than big, huge ones. If you have a lot of little successes, they all equal up to a big, huge success. So have small goals. So for example, if you go into soccer, one season, we're going to go at this for 1 season and see how we do. See what happens. You go for a season, you've accomplished that goal. Now your child is feeling good because they're accomplishing things. Even if it wasn't what they were super into, they accomplished that goal. Now they can move on to the next one. If continuing was not a part of the goal, if it was just season by season, hey, they've accomplished something. Rather than saying, we're going to go at this for the next 5 years, that's a lot. You're asking a lot. Small steps, small successes, small goals is what's going to truly help you have your kids not quit. Also, set a clear boundary, set a clear timeline for how you want things to happen. If they're in martial arts classes, what is the timeline to get from point A to point B, and what is our goal? Is it a long-term goal? Is it a short-term goal? Set long-term goals with a lot of little short-term goals, because that way you're able to see things happen and have a lot of little victories rather than waiting on one major success. Think about school. They go to preschool, then kindergarten, then elementary school, junior high, and high school. You don't have this one goal of, we're going to graduate school. We graduate preschool. We graduate kindergarten. We graduate elementary school, but those are broken down by grades. We graduate junior high, but again, grades, semesters, quarters, all these little goals. So the education system understands it. That's the exact same concept that you apply to every single thing that your kids are doing. Think about your kids. They play video games. They don't quit their video game. So the reason they don't do that is because there's small goals, there's small missions, there's small tasks they have to accomplish. If it was one super long level of 100 hours, you're probably not going to be completing that game, but once you beat level after level after level, you can see your progress and you ultimately accomplish something. You accomplish a lot of some things rather than just one thing. So how to get your kids from stop quitting? Number one, have them set goals. What do they want to achieve within the activity they're participating in? What's the long-term goal? What's the short-term goal? Write down your goals. If you do this, if you just say your goals, you have a 33.3% chance of accomplishing it. If you say your goals and you write down your goals, you have a 66.6% chance of accomplishing it. If you write down your goals, if you speak your goals, and if you see your goals daily, you have a 99.9% chance of accomplishing that goal. So if you have a higher chance by doing all three of those things, let's do them. Have your kids write their goals for whatever activity they're doing. Have them say them and recite them, and then put them on a mirror. Use a sticky note so they can see their goals daily and what they're trying to accomplish. The reason that we have a lot of successes during the school year versus the summertime is because the summertime is just let's play, do whatever we want, kind of hang out, just stay up late, sleep in. There's no set goal. If you set goals for your days, your hours, your mornings, your afternoons, you have a lot more chances of succeeding throughout the day rather than just going throughout the day with no purpose. That's how you ultimately will help your kids stop quitting things, because now they're able to achieve things and have successes and victories, and we're treating every activity like a video game. What's level 1, level 2, level 3, and by beating the game, you've accomplished the major goal. Try that, see how that works. I'm almost 1,000,000% positive that will truly help your kids from quitting. Number 2, how to help them stop quitting is whatever they're doing before that activity, if they're having a hard time leaving that activity to go to the other activity, that's what's going to cause a quitting mindset. So if they're playing with their friends and then you have to go to soccer, you have to go to whatever activity, change the activity beforehand to something they don't enjoy, like making their bed, cleaning their room, vacuuming, doing vocabulary words, something they don't enjoy, so then it becomes easier to go to that activity. Now you're not having this constant battle and this struggle with them always wanting to quit. So give those things a shot, see how they do, see how they work, and let me know. The next question that we have is, should I be concerned with what apps my kids have on their devices? The answer to that is yes. 1,000,000% yes. Here's 10 apps that you should ultimately be very concerned about if they are on your child's device. Whether it's their iPhone, it's their Android, it's their tablet, it's their iPod, whatever they have, if these apps are on there, be very careful. And today we're going to learn exactly how your kids are one-upping you, but you're also going to be able to one-up them and show them that you're actually smarter. So the 10 apps to be very cautious of if your kids have them is Tinder, Snapchat, Blender, Kick, Whisper, Ask FM, Yik Yak, Poof, Omegle, and Down. These are 10 apps that are extremely dangerous for kids because there's so many things that could happen if they have these apps. And most of us as parents didn't even know these apps existed. So here's what they are, and here's what you should do if they're on their phones. Here's what they're used for, positive, negative, and so forth. So Tinder, we all know what Tinder is. Tinder's a dating app. And so again, kids can go on there and create accounts and fake their birth dates to make them look older and do all types of things. But anyone can communicate with anyone, and we all know what Tinder's about. So that's a huge red flag. If your kids are on Tinder, if they have the app, get rid of it. Talk to them about it, because that's a huge potential problem waiting to happen. The next one is Snapchat. Snapchat is a very popular app now. It's up there with the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the Twitters. It's huge. So even if you're following your kids on Snapchat, this huge platform doesn't really help you as a parent. You can't see what they're sending to people. You can't see what they're typing, what videos they're posting. You can't see that because they disappear. Even if you have access to their account, you still can't see what they've sent or what they've typed because it's gone. So it's important that you understand what that platform entails and what they're doing, what they could be doing, and all the details around it. So Snapchat is a good platform, but it's also a very dangerous one because you don't know what they're doing. You can't control that, and you can't see what's happening. So I personally would say, if you have kids, don't let them use Snapchat unless you trust them completely, unless you have this big huge dialogue and understanding what they should and shouldn't do. Be very cautious with Snapchat. The next one is Blender. Blender is a flirting app, but that lets you meet new people within a specific GPS area. So if you have a 5-mile radius on your phone, that's where you're meeting people at. So if there's a couple sexual predators around you in that particular radius, if they have that app, that's a huge red flag. So Blender, be careful with that one. The next one is Kik. It is an instant messenger app. You know, sending pictures and text and so forth, and a lot of things now are created where they have nicknames for things. So rather than having certain types of friends, they say these are my Kik friends. And you don't even have to know these people. You can meet them on the internet. There's actual forums that you can go on and post your Kik username and have other people message you. So if they have that app, be very cautious, be very careful. The next one is Whisper. With Whisper, you make anonymous confessions and people can respond within a specific radius, within a 1-mile radius of where you are. So if you post, I'm very lonely, I wish somebody was here with me. So anyone within a 1-mile radius can respond, and they can talk to you and basically be your knight in shining armor, so to speak. And so that's a huge red flag because you don't know who they are, and everything is anonymous on that particular platform. So Whisper is one to be very cautious of. Ask FM. This is a Q&A site, but again, this is anonymous. So you can be asking any question that you want, but it's anonymous, and you don't have to know, and you don't know who's talking to who, and there's a lot of danger around that. The same thing goes with Yik Yak. Yik Yak is a text-only platform where you post things anonymously, but the closest person, again, from your GPS can respond. So you don't know who's responding because it's anonymous, but then you can have someone say, hey, meet me at Arco, I'll get you whatever you're looking for, I can help you with this and that, and you don't know who you're meeting because everything is anonymous. So Yik Yak is one to be cautious of. Poof. Poof is an app that kids think they can outsmart you with. Poof makes apps disappear. If they don't want you to see certain things, they install Poof, and poof, those apps are gone. So we'll dive into how to counter that in a second. Omegle. Omegle is a video chatting app, but this is anonymous. It says you and it says stranger. You don't know who you're talking to, but it's a video app that you can basically talk to anybody on the planet, similar to Skype, but the whole thing is anonymous. You have no idea who the person is, don't know where they are, but they're talking to someone out there. So be cautious with that. The last one is Down. Down is a little bit more geared towards the adult market, but kids are using it daily. So this is an app that lets you know if I want to hang out with you or if I want to hook up with you. And so again, if your kids have these apps on their phone and you're not aware of what these apps do, there's a lot of stuff that could be happening behind your back that you don't know. Now kids are very, very smart. So kids can go in and do things that us as parents would have never even imagined possible. So if your kids are smarter than the average person, there's a good chance that they've done things that you don't even know about. So you can't do this on an iPhone, but on an Android device, you can download a specific launcher and change things out and change skins and do things differently. So your kids technically could have all 10 of these apps. They can go in there, long press on the icon, and change the icon and change the text of the app, so you have no idea that they have Omegle on their phone, or that they have Poof or Down or Tinder. They can put a notepad as the icon and make it say Notepad 2, and you have no idea because it looks like a notepad or a calculator. So it's important that you understand this could be happening. So even if you look at their phone and you're constantly looking at the device, there's a chance they could be one-upping you. So here's how you one-up them. Having access to their accounts, you can go into the Google Play Store or the Apple Store and see what apps they've downloaded. So now even if they have changed out the icons, you can go in there and see, here's what apps you have, here's what you're using, here's what's active on your phone, and that's where you can kind of go in there and see things. So again, the 10 apps to be very cautious of. If your kids have them, I would immediately remove them and have a very in-depth conversation about these things with them. The apps are Tinder, Snapchat, Blender, Kick, Whisper, Ask FM, Yik Yak, Poof, Omegle, and Down. If they have any of those 10, talk to them, get rid of them, and be involved. Be involved in what they're doing, know what's going on, know who their friends are, know what's popular within their circle. Find out as much as you can and be involved in their lives. Don't be a distant parent. Be as involved as you possibly can, and really be a hands-on parent, and make sure you're understanding what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what's going on. So take a peek at those 10 apps, and if they're on your kid's device, take action quickly. The last question that we have is a topic rather than a question. This was a lot of questions coming in, falling under this umbrella. A lot of parents had a bunch of different questions, but they all fall under the exact same idea. So the last question or topic is why parents fail. A lot of times as parents, we've experienced the feeling that we failed our kids, or they did something and we failed as a parent. We've all experienced it. If you haven't experienced it, you probably will at some point in your life. So why do parents fail? The biggest thing we have to realize is there's 5 things that you can do as a parent to eliminate that thought and to not fail. The biggest thing is your mindset and how you think about things. That's truly going to help you understand if you're failing or if you're not failing, having expectations and so forth. So the very first thing that we would work on in a mindset of why parents fail is communication. You have to communicate with your kids. You have to be very down to earth and relate to them at their specific level. Don't talk to them like a 35-year-old adult. Talk to them like a 6-year-old. Find out what works for them. If you talk to them and you talk down to them, they're not going to respond very well. And the outcome is going to be different than what you would expect. They're going to lash out, they're going to rebel, they're going to do things that you would not want them to do based on how you're communicating with them. You want to get down to their level, communicate how they understand and how they comprehend versus how you comprehend things and how you would explain things. Watch TV shows with your kids. Watch how the people on the show or the characters on the show, how they talk to the kids. That's huge for you to understand why they learn and they listen to that particular person rather than you. Communication is key. Communication is vital. So if you're not communicating with your kids effectively, it's going to be a why do I fail all the time moment for you. The next thing is changing your mindset from failures to tests. You're not failing, you have to retest. If something doesn't work, you just retest it and retest it and retest it until you find the sweet spot, until you find what's the best fit as a parent. Find out different parenting styles. Whether you're the very aggressive drill sergeant, that might not be a good fit for your kids. They might not respond well to that. Maybe you're the opposite, where you're the very friendly, fun, go play, have fun, don't really be strict kind of a parent. That might not be very beneficial either. Find that sweet spot. That's going to help you change your mindset from failing to just testing, because you're consistently retesting different concepts and theories to parent, and you'll understand what's working and what doesn't. If it doesn't work, keep retweaking it, keep retesting it until it does work. That's what's going to help you go from failing to winning. Change it from, man, I fail all the time, to I'm going to retest, I'm going to retweak this, I'm going to change what I'm doing, change the approach, and I guarantee you, you're going to see a huge difference and change in the outcome. Third thing is be involved in your kids' lives. A lot of times, if you look on Facebook and you see parents posting pictures of their parties that they're having and their wild, crazy adventures, but there's no pictures of them with their kids. They're not playing with their kids. They're not playing outside. They're not being involved. That's a huge problem. Kids want attention. Kids want to know that you care. Kids want to know that you want to be involved in what they're doing. So be involved in their lives. Spend as much time with you as you can with them, because if you think about this, you literally have 18 summers with them. That's it, 18. Let alone give or take some, because again, once they become teenagers, you probably lost those summers as well. So be as involved as you possibly can. Know their friends, know what they're into, know their favorite musicians, know what movies they like, know what kind of clothes they're into. Be involved, be their best friend, but still be their parent. Be strict, but still be friendly. Be stern, but be friendly. Make sure that you're involved and active in everything that they're doing. If they're into video games, play video games with them. If they're into science, do science stuff with them. Even if you're the worst person at science, be involved in that. Maybe they can teach you something. Be involved in your kids' lives. That's truly going to help you go from failing to winning. Number 4, have clear goals. Clear goals and expectations and rules. If your kids understand what you expect of them, if your kids understand what the goals are, what the outlines are that you want them to do, it's a lot easier for them to do things, because now they know what's expected of them. If you just say, be a kid, go out there, do whatever you want, they don't know what you expect of them, and they make mistakes, and then you get super angry because they didn't do what you wanted, but you didn't explain what you wanted them to do. So set clear goals. Write down things you want them to achieve. The big things 95% of parents don't do with their kids is write goals. Most people I know do not write down goals. If you write down goals, you're going to see a huge change in your everyday life, for yourself, for your kids, for your relationships, because now you have purpose. Set purpose and set goals for every relationship, whether it's you and your kids, whether it's you and a spouse, you and a friend. Set relationship goals, set things you want to accomplish. That's going to help you. And have clear rules. Let your kids know, this is what I expect. This is what's right and this is what's wrong. If you cross this line, this is the punishment. This is the response to this action. For every action, there is a reaction. If you do this, if you do what you're not supposed to, here is the repercussion. Let them know, so there's a clear path, a clear outline for all of these different things. The last one is how you communicate. How you communicate with your kids is completely different than just talking. We can have a conversation and be effective at that, but how you communicate to kids is absolutely vital. How you communicate to kids is the most important thing. I see a lot of people that have martial arts schools and they run kids programs, but they don't have a good kids program because they don't know how to effectively communicate with kids. Whenever you're dealing with kids, you have to understand their development stage, the way that they learn, the way that their brain functions, the way that their brain operates. That's how you're going to understand how to effectively communicate with them. I'm going to post a link in this particular video that you can see every single age group and how they develop, what they do, how they learn, and how to be effective with that particular age group. Recently I had a parent who had a 3-year-old tell me that their kid plays too much and that they might not be ready for classes. And so within the 3 and 4-year-old age group, how kids learn in that age group is by playing. That's how you effectively learn. Why do you think so many 3 and 4-year-olds have so many toys? Because that's how they're learning to do things, from toolboxes to carts to bikes. They learn things with toys and by playing. And so saying they're not serious enough, they're not this, because you want them to do that, doesn't effectively make sense. So understanding how your kids develop and how they learn, how they understand things is going to be huge in how you communicate. If you try and talk to a 5-year-old the way that you would talk to a 15-year-old, it makes no sense. You have to talk to them at their particular level. Get down to their level. Don't look down to them. Go down and squat down and look them in the eyes and talk to them at their level. Talk to them the way that they see things on TV. Talk to them like that. If you've ever watched Blue's Clues, I always tell all of our instructors, watch Blue's Clues, and that'll give you an idea of how little kids understand and how they accept communication. Most people don't talk that way, but kids love that. Kids understand that and they relate to that. So talk to kids the way that they understand, the way they comprehend, and communicate to them. The biggest thing when you're communicating with your kids, it's how you communicate, but it's what you're saying. Too often do parents talk to the problem. We spoke about this in episode 1 or 2, I believe. Stop talking to your kids' problems by saying stuff like, gosh, you won't sit still. Why won't you listen? Problem, problem, problem. Talk to their potential. How often do you speak to your kids' potential? Realistically, most of us don't ever focus on that. We focus on, gosh, my kid just won't sit still. They won't listen. That's the problem. You're talking and confessing into the problem rather than saying, man, they have so much energy. They're so excited about this particular topic. Wow, that's amazing. That's the potential. Their excitement. They're into something. But you're more focused on the problem. Speak to their potential rather than speaking to their problem. How you communicate is the most important thing that you could do as a parent. How you get them to do things all comes down to how you communicate with them. If you want to go back to question 1 and how to get them to stop quitting, it's all on you. You are the one that control that. If you have your kids pick things they want to do and quit whenever they want, you hold the control key. You hold the control of that particular child's life. If they wouldn't quit school, why would you let them quit anything else? Because if it's beneficial for them, you as a parent have control of that. You can make anything happen, because if you want success to happen, you are the person in the driver's seat, not them. If you want your kids to effectively communicate with you, you have to effectively communicate to them. Stop speaking to problems, start speaking to potential. Try those 5 things. Again, how you communicate, communicating effectively, test and retest instead of thinking that you failed. Have clear-cut goals and rules and outlines, and be involved in your kids' lives. That is how you will ultimately change everything from, gosh, I'm a failure as a parent, to look how awesome my kids are. Look at this amazing relationship that we have. My kids are rock stars.